How's it going, everybody? This is going to be the second last tier list for the BlackRock family. Little note on the tier list that went up yesterday. A couple people had a lot of disagreements with the Harpies and the Quail board placement. So I went hard on the Quail board, built it up so that it would actually be even with like what my main kind of deck is, and started trying to use it in multiple modes. I could not get it to work in the dungeon at all to help climb my beast deck. I couldn't really use it to help climb in the heroic campaigns. I just want to remind people this was like a PvE list. I did try some of the situational strategies that people were talking about, like dropping the Quailba right before your like squish your units reach a tank or a tower or the boss, and that did work quite a bit. So although we had him pretty low, I think definitely he could be moved up. I don't think he skyrockets to S or A tier for me. I think he's a comfortable B tier. But just wanted to address that because without spending too much money, it's hard to get everything tested. Yes, buddy. Anyway, enjoy the tier list. Bye. What's up, guys? We're back and we're going to be doing the BlackRock family tier list now. We already do have Rend in the A tier and Sir in the B tier. We just don't know how to say his name. We're not going to butcher it. We don't want you guys to make fun of us in the comment sections. So we're going to just leave them there where we got them listed when we did the leader tier list. And we're going to break down the rest, starting with the Core Hounds. What has been your experience with the Core Hounds so far, sir?
I think they suck. I'll be honest.
They're so slow. They cost so much. They die to ranged. They have some like super niche push capabilities. If you have the one talent where they can res from forever away. Sorry, I'm on the wrong screen here. The Eternal Bond, Resurrection range is limited. Then on the split push stuff, you can do some interesting things with them. But I've never had it work, and people who try to use it against me in PvP, it has never worked. So I'm with you. They aren't it. And I have them big. I have them at rarity. Sorry, that's a weird way to say that. And like super leveled up. And these guys are dying to like Harpies just kill them so fast. Anything at range murders them. Their damage on towers isn't great. I tried them in a Tyrion push and just wasn't doing the trick for me.
Yeah, well, the problem is, they're a 6 cost, and I get there's two of them, but like their health isn't huge for a 6 cost man. There's another tank unit we'll talk about in this family that it literally has like double, like has 10k more health than they do. Like it's insane how much more health that one has than this one. Than the
Yeah.
Core Hounds, yeah. I mean, like I said, the resurrect thing is cool, and I've seen it work like once or twice. But yeah, like you say, I'm not scared of them when I see them in PvE
Yeah.
against me. I'm not scared of them. I've never seen them in PvP, honestly. And yeah, it's just kind of, there's a reason they gave it to us for free at one point, I think.
Yeah, even though it's the newest mini, just doesn't
Yeah.
quite do it. I'm feeling D tier on this one. What do you think?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, there's no question.
Right on, right on. All right, this next one, neither of us have any knowledge on, and it is the Deep Breath, which is the reward you get for beating Onyxia. I'm not quite there yet. I know you're not quite there yet either. I mean, this is a spell, I think it looks like. It looks super interesting. Its allies caught in the effect gain resist. Damaging armored enemies removes their armor. That's really cool. And casts a second wave in the opposite direction. So, like the cool little double dragon's breath. Um, the damage on it, I guess we should just look at it from a damage perspective. Compare this
Yeah.
against Blizzard. What are we looking at there?
So yeah, so Blizzard is 3063 as its damage.
Okay.
The Dragon Breath is 2451. So it's less damage than Blizzard at the same cost, given we don't know what it looks like. There's not even a video playing for a preview. Maybe nobody knows what this looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like does it shoot all the way down lane maybe? Because that's what it's like, because it casts a second wave in the opposite direction. So based on that, maybe it blows down one lane and then it could blow down another lane, perhaps.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I'm reading here, maybe for the ability, which sounds super cool. But again, like a one-time insta cast, like wave blast and down. I still would rather probably have Blizzard. because the most parts, most of your units are gonna be clumped up anyway. So I don't know. It could be amazing. It could be garbage. We actually don't know.
Yeah,
And for that alone, I say we just put it in B tier for the hell of it.
I think so. End game reward B tier.
Yeah, B tier. Maybe it's S tier because it's end game. Who knows?
Yeah, we'll find out probably in about 3 weeks. If I start pushing PvE content, I think I can get there quickly enough.
There you go.
Then we got the Dark Iron Miner. Now, you saying you haven't really used the miner whatsoever. I've used it sparingly in a couple PvE missions. I found it helpful just to snag a quick mine or two. So the talents that we got here: after mining, gain armor; after mining, drop a proximity mine, damaging nearby enemies when touched; and then gain fury. Gaining fury and the gain armor, it's just stupid. Dropping the mine so that enemy kobold to try and get to that mine afterwards. That's the one you want. Definitely better. It is an unbound unit. It's one of the few mining characters we have in the game. Like, we got the kobold, you got the miner, you got the harpy talent, and you got the sneed talent.
Need talent, yeah.
I don't know if there's any others after that off the top of my head. But really low damage. It's really just to snipe gold either away or chess away from the enemy, whether that be in PvE or PvP. Cost 2. It ends up just kind of being a trade, and so it feels to me like, for the most part, it's just taking up space in your deck, or in your army rather. We're gonna start calling it army because that's the words they use.
Yeah.
It's, to me, it's just like, it's super situational. It's just okay. It's like a C tier for me.
I mean, I can understand that, and like thinking about it, like ideally, you put that in a cycle deck or something where you go
Yeah.
snag some gold. You know, an unbound deck maybe. So yeah, I mean, I think C tier for it being so situational is definitely the spot for it.
Right on, right on, right on. All right, and that's going to take us on over to the Drake now. Yes, our fiery friend. It's the iconic dragon looking from the World of Warcraft universe. So, this, I've had some mixed results with the Drake, if I'm being honest with you. I've had some amazing results where the fire breath is just ripping people apart. It does seem that it has the edge on most enemy flyers. Like, if the dragon is flying into whelps at the same time, the dragon's breath will kill the whelps before they get to pop off. Same with harpies. Same with the Stormwind Griffin, unless they have the range talent on. So it does seem to be kind of the king of the skies. And it's got some really, really fun talents. So the Mother Drake is my absolute favorite. Just periodically summons a whelp egg. So it's just pooping eggs out as it flies, which is really cool, really impactful. The Roost one, I hate these because I tried it on one character, and it's just, the second you try and take this character to PvP and you are stuck with this talent, you basically should just take it off and have no talents. So perching on top of a nearby tower, staying there to defend it. Not really getting much done there. Engulfing flames, damaging enemies, burns them. No shit. Yeah, when you set things on fire, it burns them. It's okay. It's like a dot, right? But the Mother Drake is just way, way better. What's your experience with the Drake, and have you found a deck that you're sliding it in on as you're flying?
Yeah, so I agree. I think the Mother Drake is by far the best perk for it. The AoE flying damage is just phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's like a bat rider that attacks everything, but it's tankier as well,
Yeah.
which you just gotta love. Yeah, I don't think head to head there's a flying unit that takes it if they're meeting in the lane, like you said, other than, with, like I said, the Griffin with range talent on it, perhaps. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, I haven't lost any flying fights with it. Phenomenal unit. So, I mean, I'm a big fan. I don't currently use it in any standard build of any of my decks. It's definitely one of those things where, like, oh shit, I need to bring it in, and I bring it in, and the Drake always does work for me. But it's not something I'm super scared of either, though, when I see it, because you can range it out, right?
Oh, yeah. Easy.
And then yeah, exactly. You see, because it is AoE, it is short burst on it. It's not a huge range on it. So because of that fact, I mean, C tier? I don't know. I mean, like, I feel like it's good though. So maybe B, maybe low B. I don't. I mean,
I think it belongs low B because you do bring up a couple good
B, yeah.
points. Super vulnerable to spells. A safe pilot will instantly just nuke it. Any sort of ranged ground attacker can normally kill the Drake before it matters. Like the troll spear thrower guy, he'll kill it before it even gets anywhere near range. So
Yeah.
will the ogre mage. Like so, it definitely has its shortcomings. If you could get that dragon to a tower, though, that tower gets burnt up real quick.
Yep. Yep.
I think your gut is right on the C for me. It'll probably end up pretty low on the list in C tier, but when
Hmm.
you pair it with
B tier.
Rend, you can kind of spam them, which gets very
Right.
interesting.
For sure. For sure. And like we said, B tier, not C tier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, the Earth Elemental. So this is a unbound unit that does siege damage. Now, I've tried using this. When it says siege damage, like it's using that word very, very loosely because he tickles towers, like just, and he should, right? Because he's an unbound unit. It makes sense. But he tanks it. He's got a couple talents. I don't think any of them really do much. So he can taunt on deploy, but you don't really want him to taunt because you want him to make it to the tower, I guess. Destroying a tower deals damage to nearby enemies. Again, if you've left him alone long enough on a tower that he's actually destroyed it, you I don't know, you're lost. And then the Obsidian Shard on death split into two smaller Earth Elementals. This is what I see most people run. It doesn't really do much. They kind of just get one shot after that
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. They get quick murdered.
But he costs 3 and he's unbound and he can tank a bunch of hits. Like what do you think about
So
the
like,
Earth Ellie?
I hate. I absolutely hate playing against them in PvE. I don't know what theirs is doing that mine isn't.
Yeah.
It just does so much damage. It is insane how much damage that thing does to my towers. I've even gotten where I bansheed it in PvE and it just eaten alive. And I'm like, mine wasn't. What am I missing here? But yeah, I mean, I currently use it in my Ev Unbound deck just because it's unbound. Throwing it in there. It is a tank unit, so it's fatter. It can take more hits. You throw that first, and you can throw some other stuff back there. But yeah, I mean, like I get super niche use. I think C tier for sure is where we're gonna put this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I could see its use. I've seen it used efficiently, but I've never been terrified of it. Like you said, there's ways to absolutely demolish this thing. You throw banshees at it. If you throw harpies at it, if you throw a dragon at it, it's gone.
Yup.
It's gone.
Yup.
All right, this is gonna bring us to another elemental, the fire elemental. This was my ride or die boy when I was going through the campaign for the first time. He cost 4, so he was expensive, but his cleave would just rip through any kind of squad that walks up to him. He's got great tank stats. He does very decent damage, even to towers and everything. And he's got some nice talents. So let's read those talents. Immolation Aura, periodically damaging nearby enemies. I like that one. It's a nice little dot that it does when he runs up to another tank. Molten Core, on death, summon a pool of lava, damaging enemies near within. I actually do like this one as well. It's not as strong as the PvE node that he has this on, but it's still very good. And then Fan of Flames, taking elemental damage increases damage dealt by 10%, stacks 30 times. Makes him good in like a mirror matchup where he starts doing a bunch more damage. Or if someone happens to drop a safe rocket on this guy, which was a huge mistake because the safe rocket's going to get cleaved down. But yeah, also if he's tanking like a shaman to the face while he's ripping apart a couple Tyrian waves, he can get some good damage that way. I don't know. What are you thinking about his talents? Which one do you think is best? Because I think they're all, yeah, as far as talents go, these are probably the most balanced, but I'm kind of liking that Molten Core one myself.
They're all really, really good, and I agree. I think Molten Core is the best one because if he dies, that means he lost the fight, right? So
Yeah.
something is walking over that dead body because he's your frontline tank, ideally. So then you're just adding more damage to him as he passes away, which is huge. So I 100%, I think Molten Core is the best just because the Fan the Flame is situational technically. Although there's a lot of things that do elemental damage. And then again the aura is not bad either. Like I said, but he already does that cleave damage. So, how much extra are you having put on with that?
Yeah.
So, I don't know if it does flying enemies. If the aura hurts flying enemies, then maybe, it's interesting. I haven't experienced, I haven't
It
have
doesn't.
that perk. Okay,
Yeah,
it
it
doesn't, then no. But like I said, it's very strong tank, with the cleave. Anytime you get a cleave tank, you're going to love it. I think he's definitely a solid B tier tune. I really do.
You think it B? I was actually thinking A, but
Eh?
I may be biased because I used him all the way till I was finished the normal campaign. I have since
Yeah.
dropped him off a cliff. The 4
Well, so
cost.
So the 4 cost puts him in a funny spot, because I think he's the only true tank that's a 4 cost. He's the only guy, because outside of that, you got your 2 costs, and you got your 6 cost, and then you got this man right here in the middle is a 4 cost. He does decent damage. His health's not bad. He's a. You know what? I mean, I could see A. I could see low A. I
I
do
think
use
low
him.
A. Low A.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
good with that.
Because with Sir, he's the go-to tank with Sir
Yes,
for the
yes.
for the elemental. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it makes sense. He does have a place. He does do well, and he can work in other things. So and this like, would I rather have him over the Drake 100%? So
Yeah.
it makes sense.
All right. All right, moving on to the Fire Hammer. Very interesting character. This is going to be one of the first characters we talk about Fury. When we talked about the Stormwind Griffin, Fury kind of came up, but such low range on her that it was hard to work. Fury is built in to the Firehammer's kit. So basically, starts slow, but her armor melting momentum can't be matched. So every time she's standing still, she starts attack, next attack's faster, next attack's even faster, and all of a sudden she's like a little machine gun. So she's got some nice talents too. Deals 50% more damage to flying enemies. I love this one. Really rips people apart. Fury builds up to 40% higher. If she gets to a tower she's got blazing speed on, hold on to your tower because it's about to be blown away. And then Heightened Rage, level up upon reaching full Fury. It's nice. It's one level. I don't know if when she like backs off if she can just ramp it back up or not. But I really like this character. I like that her range is 9, so she's matching that troll spear thrower in the range department. And because she ramps up, like him, she can just take out harpies before they reach her, take out wolves before they reach her. I think her damage is a little bit less than his, but she makes up for that in attack speed when she gets 2 shots off. I haven't played with her too much, but I've played against her at high end, and she's very annoying to deal with. What are your thoughts on the
Yeah,
Firehammer?
100%. Yeah. So I agree. I've seen her just stand back and just tear things to pieces. Usually it's my tower. But yeah, man, she can do some great things. Yeah. So the base damage is going to be it's 858 compared to the troll, right? For an example, excuse me. So troll costs 1 less, and it's 1,164. Both backline units that are just going to get popped and killed pretty quick on a straight fight, right? But if you get them going back there, they can really do some nice things and do some really beautiful damage. I like the built-in Fury on her. I mean, I think she can really, really do some good work. Like I said, though, I don't have any personal use though of doing work with her. I haven't used her, but I've felt the Fury in the opposite direction. So yeah, she's always somebody I've wanted to get into and stuff. I haven't leveled her up and tried her yet. So I think I've been missing out honestly because she sounds like a really solid tune at a 4 cost, which is I think a really good sweet spot for her perhaps. So I don't know, based on just the fact that I don't know as much about her, maybe B. What are you thinking?
I'm thinking B tier is a safe spot for her. Yes,
Yeah.
she ramps up, but she's squishy, so she's vulnerable to quick
Mm-hmm.
deaths, and
Yup.
she's hindered by being a single target attacker as well, which
Mm-hmm.
I think works against her in this very squad heavy meta we currently have, both in
Mm-hmm.
PvE and PvP. So I'm good to put her there.
Awesome.
All right, moving on to the Flamewalker. I also use the Flamewalker quite a bit for PvE, but he was the first character that dropped off for me. His inability to take out flying targets really hurts him in a deck. But if he can start just spamming on a giant wave, like if you have a sick Tyrion setup and you got those footmen with a Tyrion and a shaman in the back and maybe an abomination, not an abomination because he'll grab them, but whatever, another tank, maybe one of the Blackrock tanks we're about to talk about later. This guy will just chew through melee characters. So he ignites the ground with waves of flames, incinerating support troops behind enemy tanks. So he is doing like a conal attack, which is really nice. I think that's what the bombardment is. No, attack ground units only. It's just AoE, I guess. He also has some interesting talents. So damaging enemies dazes them. That's just a slow, I believe. Damaging
Mm-hmm.
enemies burns them, so it's a little dot. And successful attacks increase flame wave distance, resets at movement. I actually really like this one because if you
Mm-hmm.
do walk up to a big tank and the enemy has guys coming towards you, especially somebody like the Night Song Raiders, the glaive throwers rather, then his fire will actually start reaching that night elf before she is in range to throw those glaives at you, and you'll get the quick kill on her instead of her getting the quick kill on you. Have you played with the Flame Walker much, and what do you think
I
about this
have.
character?
I have. I love the Flame Walker. I do believe it's the highest AoE damage in the game for a ground attack. Like I said, I think it balances because it's limited to only ground, where the Huntress can attack ranged as well, Pyromancer, the Orc Mage, all those people can hit range units as well. Yeah, I love him. I think he's, like you said, absolutely just chomps, 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 chomps. You put him behind a tank, and he's gonna do the most work for you. Like he's just like a tank, and him going all the way to the moon with those two, as long as there's no flying around. Like that's how they balance this mini out for sure. Yeah, so I'm a huge fan. I think he's an A tier for sure in my book personally. But like you said, he does need that support behind a flyer. He needs someone that can handle those flyers, and that's his biggest weakness. So I can understand the argument for B tier because of that alone.
So here's a couple things he got going for him, and a couple things he doesn't, in my eyes as well. He's got
Mm-hmm.
decent attack speed at 1.8. When he starts
Mm-hmm.
going, he goes. His
Mm-hmm.
range is at 7.5. That works against them, but if he's got that backdraft talent, he can make up for it if he's your front line. He's getting in on those tanks before the enemy range pop up. All of a sudden, that backdraft starts reaching them before they're even in range.
Right.
He destroys squads.
He eats squads, dude. Like that alliance, the four piece that we talked about in alliance that we like so much,
Yeah,
eats them alive. Destroy. Like I mean, got a video of them. I think he's just killing a necromancer over and over again. And it's
yeah,
brutal. I feel bad for the necro. That's the thing. I'm thinking in a 1v1 straight ground fight, there's not too much stuff that gets him unless it's a prowler. There's somebody that jumps up on him real quick. There's stuff like that. And again, I think if I'm putting something behind a tank, because he's also slow, so he's not going to outrun that tank.
yeah.
The hunter's problem is she's so quick, she's going to outmaneuver that tank. He walks about the same speed as all the other tanks, so you can line
True.
them up. He's going to stay in position for you. Like I said, if you put something that can handle ranged behind him or kind of at the same speed he is, I mean, that's the dream combo, right? And so that's something that you could throw the Griffin Rider as much shade as we threw at her, but throw the Griffin Rider behind them. She handles the ranged, maybe. Like I said, he's not bad. I actually use him in my favorite deck, my Tyrion one push deck. So I do use him in my Tyrion one push deck. My Tyrion one push deck also struggles with ranged units. So maybe it's, if I put a Huntress in there or something else that can deal with range, maybe I fix that problem with him. But I don't know. Like I said, the more I salter on it, I do think B tier is probably where he belongs, honestly.
He can go either way. I think he goes the tippy top of B tier.
Yeah, a to be top of B tier, I think is a beautiful spot for him. I really, really do.
Yeah. So it's like you
Even
say,
for
like any sort of ground units that he runs on, if he's not being spawned into death, he can snowball a lane really quickly. But then you
Mhm.
throw like vultures at him, and if you die to vultures, man, you're just feeling bad. All right, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good with tippy top of B tier. All right,
Yeah.
living bomb, the most expensive spell in the game. Um, I've used it once, but very effectively. Let's go over the talents first. So, affected enemies are dazed. Splash damage inflicts living bomb, which is kind of crazy. Also, burn enemies within 10. So, the reason I like the splash damage inflicts living bomb is because I don't think there's much of a room for this in PvP because it costs so much, and because most people don't spam giant groups together unless they're doing the Tyrion. But
Right.
there's better ways to handle that, like a
Right.
4 cost blizzard, right?
Right.
But in PvE, when you know the enemy spawns in, because PvE is very predictable, right? You can see when things spawn in.
Right.
You know that enemy is going to spawn a bunch of squads with a tank on it right away. Pop chain living bomb on it with chain reaction, and it's just a double bomb of death, as you can see right here. Exactly what's happening. It hits hard, costs 6. It's big AoE. How you feeling about living bomb? Right off the bat, let me tell you, it's too expensive.
It's very expensive. I've used it to great success though in PvE. We've talked about, like then those levels where you know what the opening salvo is going to be. I know that I'm going to get my value on that 6 because the guys dropping, they're dropping the Alliance 4, they're dropping, the Ghoul, they're dropping the Murloc 3 back there. I'm thinking of hard level with the, oh my gosh, I was playing it like 10 times today. The hard level with the little ninja guys, like on the first group. I can't remember the bloody level for the life of me right now. But yeah, like there's certain levels where you do get your 6 cost back for it. You can exchange it. You can wipe out the whole squad. And then at that point you're either even playing field or you're up. But it's pretty situational when that does happen. It is run in my BlackRock flyer deck actually, just because of those situations, and I know that I can get my value back on it. But like you said, it is more situational than Blizzard. I think 100%. Like I said, there's plenty of spots where Blizzard does its same job at a lower cost, but the potential for it to be good is there. And I think because I think we've been pretty consistent where we're situational playing. We've been throwing all those into the C category. I think that's where it lives, is in C because of that.
I'm good with that. Let's put it top of C, though.
Yeah, that sounds
I've
good.
definitely, at the very least, I've had more fun using it instead of the Dark
Yeah.
Iron Dwarf.
Yes, 100%.
All right, and now the big boy, the Molten Giant. I used him a bit for a while, and then the cost was just too much for me. So he's a giant tank, huge health pool, decent damage when he gets to where he's going, real slow. He does have some cool talents, so he can gain taunt. That's kind of what he's there for anyway. On death, he can explode, damaging nearby enemies. I actually do like that one, and then he can also heal when destroying a tower, so he can be just like almost draining from tower to tower, which is very, very cool. How did you feel about the Molten Giant, and have you got to use him a bunch?
Yeah, so I love the Molten Giant. I actually use him in my Murloc deck,
Ooh.
actually. Yeah, so he is a standard in there. He is my tank, just because the Murloc, I believe he costs 4. Yeah, Murloc costs 4, then he costs 6. So what I do is I throw my Murloc in the back of wherever I'm putting my units. I put him in front, and then all of a sudden I get 6 Murlocs that pop out behind. And then at that point, I'm able to do a neither 1 or 2 cost before the 5 seconds is up. And that's if I time it well, I can get more gold from that when I'm looking at my max cap.
Right.
So I like him just for that fact alone, that I can't run the Murloc deck. I run him with taunt because a lot of things in Murloc deck are pretty quick, and so sometimes he's not the first thing there. So because of that, I put him on taunt, just so that way I can pull things in a bit easier with
Yeah,
that.
that's fair.
But yeah, but I do like him. He can very, very easily defend my base, mainly because he's just there and the tower is doing all the work, and he's just standing there, just getting pummeled on. So I'm a big fan of him, but again, I think just because I use him in the Murloc deck, and I like the Murloc deck a lot, so I'm a little biased with him. He's not actually the tankiest tank in the game. That actually belongs to another faction tank, but he's, I believe, the second tankiest. And one of the true 6 cost tanks that we have. So he's one of the true big cost tanks. So I'm thinking B tier just because I personally have a place for him, and he does his job very well in that spot. But like I said, I'm not sure what is your experience you've had, and where do you think he belongs?
Yeah, I think B tier. To me, he's the 6 cost too high. If he was 5, he'd be a lot better for me.
Hmm.
I think he is definitely in between the fire elemental and the earth elemental as far as like value of a tank goes.
Yeah.
He's hindered by that single target attack that he does, because
Right.
when he's doing his push, he can get stuck on somebody for quite a while with that small damage, And
Mm,
if chickens reach this guy, you don't have him protected.
done.
I've
Done.
never seen chickens eat rock that fast before. So yeah, I know I'm good with B tier because I do think it's situational. I think he's a
Hmm.
great meat shield for sure.
Yeah.
All right, the Black Rock Pyromancer. This girl has been on my radar recently, just because of what she can do as far as just destroying squads and also destroying towers. So she kind of feels like a mini ogre mage. Let's read what she's got going on as far as talents go. First of all, AoE range elemental pyroblast, deal triple damage on the first attack. Splash area is doubled on the conflagulate. Sorry, that's on the AoE attack. And then damage and burn nearby enemies on death. Damage and burn near. Oh, when she dies, she does that. Okay.
Hmm.
So, listen, decent range, 8. Decent damage. She's got good area damage. She can get it doubled, which is very interesting. Way squishier than the ogre. How you feeling about the Blackrock Pyromancer?
Yeah, I mean she's like a poor man's ogre just because she costs 3 and he costs 5,
Yeah,
and
true.
there's no fury involved, so that and the ogre, like you said, he's got a strong jaw. She is a true glass cannon in that aspect, but like I said, we were talking about the fire hammer earlier. And I think she's better than the Firehammer because she's got the AoE attached
Yeah.
to her. You can double that range on the AoE, and the damage is pretty good. Like it's consistent. You don't have to worry. Like the Firehammer, they have to stand in one spot and do work. So it's whether you're milling down a big tank or a tower or something or a large army. She can still walk and rock, and she's not completely useless by herself either. Sure, she can't take a punch like the ogre mages, but she's no chump. You can't just blast her with a zap or something and a little chain lightning and expect it to be over. She's gonna live through that. So you really have to hit her with something decent. So I think high B is what I'm feeling on her, just because the cost isn't big. 3's a solid cost for a
3 is a
pretty
solid
good,
cost
yeah,
for that AoE
good
damage. Like
cost.
any sort of flying squad that comes up to her, get wrecked. Any sort,
Red.
like really good character. We might be undervaluing her just because we don't have the
Yeah.
experience with her, but I'm good with that. I'm good with that until I can actually
Mhm.
get my hands on her. She's definitely somebody to keep your eye on for sure.
Yeah, 100. Yeah, she's definitely someone to peg as a possible riser. 100%.
Yeah. All right, smoke bomb. Have you used smoke bomb once?
I have.
Okay. Then you better take over because I've not used smoke bomb. Well, I'll read the talents for you. So, Stranger at Night effects apply to enemies as well. Okay. Grant +1 level to cycle minis within. Oh, that's kind of cool. And affected minis move 50% faster until in stealth. That's kind of cool too. All right. So basically, it's a spell that puts your minis in stealth and possibly the enemy minis. It's good at like it just showed if you have a melee unit that you don't want to get wrecked by incoming aerial attacks that they can't defend themselves against, or vice versa. In the case of uh, the 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 horde one with the firebomb, the bat rider.
Bat Rider, yeah.
So if you've used this, I think I used it once on a surge, and I was just like I started trying to not use it. So, so why don't you tell me about your experience with smoke
Yeah,
bomb?
so I have a very niche use for this spell, or the two uses. Number one is I have used it in a Hogger Cycle deck just because it's a one cost.
Okay.
And I just wanted to get back to Hogger faster. And if you could sneak a Hogger onto a base at the end of the game, so they're just gonna rip it to pieces.
Okay.
Just gonna rip it to pieces. Yeah.
That's cool.
And the second place where I use it, which has a consistent use, is actually going to be with the combined with the Banshee if I'm worried about my Banshee getting murdered. And I
Ah,
and I and I want to make sure I can get that grab. So at that point though, it is a 5 cost Banshee at that point because Banshee is 4 cost.
yeah.
So, it's heavy. It's a heavy 5. There's only a few things that's worth taking at 5. But
No, but I
if
like that because the
yeah,
abomination can snipe her and take her out
yes.
on a cleave attack. So can the warglaive lady. She can do that as
Yes.
well. So can some leaders. I kind of like that
Hmm.
combo. It's a good combo.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So that's been my uses with it, and again, I kind of, I have never really used it for its proper position, for to sneak people onto things other than with the Banshee. I've never been like, "Ooh, yeah, let me skip some army or get the jump on these guys." I've just been like, "Oh, I need to cycle this out," or "Oh, shoot, let me just go ahead and make sure I secure this Banshee." So, but yeah, again, situational, I think we know where situational goes.
Yeah, we know where situational goes. I'm gonna put
That's
it.
right.
You made it sound pretty cool, pretty interesting. I'm gonna put it ahead of the Earth Ellie at the very least.
Yeah, for sure, definitely. In my book, even ahead of the minor for myself personally, but it's just because I have that in a deck. I don't have the minor in a deck.
I'm good with that. I don't have minor in the decks anymore. I used it for PVE
Hmm.
once. All
There you
right,
go.
here we go. We saved the best for last. The whelp eggs.
Yeah.
These guys rival the safe pilot. I think the safe pilot is the most impactful mini in the game. If somebody's asked me like, "Hey, what mini should I put all my wizards in?" I say safe pilot, and they say, "Okay, I'm done with safe pilot. What do I do next?" Whelp eggs. Very interesting. So basically, this is an unbound unit. It flies in. There's 3 eggs. The eggs get hatched. Out comes these flying little drakes that throw AoE fire bombs at the enemies, which is really cool. It's got nice talents. So when one egg hatches, the other eggs hatch immediately. It's rookery. Don't use that. Chromatic plating, eggs gate taunt. Don't do that. And then flame burst, damaging nearby enemies when hatching. This is a great talent that you can use to kind of drop these eggs on top of something like the War Song Rider, or on top of the Nightglaive Thrower, or on top of the Bat Rider, or on top of whatever character does AoE. That'll just burst the eggs immediately, like the Ogre Mage too. And then that flame burst damage can take that enemy out, so your whelps don't get immediately killed by it. So I'm in love with the whelp eggs. I use them in every single deck along with the safe pilot. This is you tell me what you think about the whelp eggs.
Yeah, no, Whelples are phenomenal. Like their only true drawback is they do have to be attacked to
Mm-hmm.
open up. So they don't just do it on proximity. So if something's already latched onto your tower or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
like that's the problem there. And they do take a little bit to come in. It's probably what, 2 second deploy time on them
Yeah.
for them to fly in. Yeah, so it's not automatic, but they're phenomenal. I use them mainly for defensive purposes, so to shut down and deny a chest or a lane even, like I said, like if I want to deny gold, I put it on the gold node there. Like I said, the cobalt miner won't attack them, but if something else comes by, it will attack them, opens them up. But yeah, like I said, they start as a ground unit, they get attacked, they go to an air unit, and then they can just put in work. So yeah, a great unit. I definitely think they're an S tier unit. I don't think there's any question that they're an S tier unit. They are phenomenal. They have saved my base more times than I can count, to be honest.
Yeah, I agree with you. And on a final push, you can throw. I love throwing them in at the tail end of an enemy's blizzard, so that they immediately pop and they're just tearing up whatever the enemy was trying to protect. In PVE, man, these guys, they're so good when you want to race through those early boring levels of a dungeon. You just throw those at the boss and they'll rip it up for you. That's such a minuscule use. But I love the dragons. I've been using them like crazy, so I'm with you at S tier for sure. And now I'm looking at this list. I like this list. I think BlackRock, it has a very good roster, but very mid, very much in the mid, which isn't the
Yeah.
end of the world, because what you want to do is you want to have 2 BlackRocks, and then you want to have the rest of your deck with fun, interesting mechanical pieces anyway. So I like that. Sorry, your army in your army. And I will make note, a lot of this ranking could change. Like if you have Rend as your leader, the Drake probably moves up to an A, right? Because it costs 1 less,
Right.
and the
Right.
Whelp moves up to an S plus because it costs 2 instead of 3.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and that's the same thing with Sir, right? You're
yes,
running Sir, then your Firewalker moves up. Then you move up your Fire Elemental. You're moving up the Flame Walker.
yeah,
You're so it's the joys of this game is we build things around the leaders. The armies are built around the leaders, and so depending on the leader, some things can shift. But yeah, and B's a solid tier. Like we are really securing those A and S tiers for those units that just ascend past their limitations. Something that you would put in almost any deck. And so, like I said, everything in the B tier has a place in the game, I believe. And there's some things that we haven't experimented with, but we feel like they could do great things.
Yeah.
And yeah, the BlackRock is, again, maybe not the strongest, but they're definitely not the weakest faction by any stretch of the, or family, shall I say. They're definitely the weakest family by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I agree. Just those pesky core hounds holding them back. All right, guys.
Yes.
I know this one ran super long, but this was a great conversation. I hope you enjoyed it. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and we guys will see you in the next one, the final, the undead tier list. Have a great day.
We're still wearing the same clothes.
We're still wearing the same clothes. Sure, of course. That's it for the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Stay happy, healthy, have fun, and I'll see you in the next one.